MK, and I am back with another Shimmerz Paints design team layout for you guys today. I just am going to make a really quick layout using very minimal supplies. So what I have is 2 flare from Scrappy Happy Studios, a couple tile alphas, and then some numbers from a thicker set. I also have this train from the Creative Memories laser cut from a few years back. I created this cloud for just this layout because I wanted it to look like the smoke coming out of the steam engine. I have this scrap right here that is not going to get used on my layout. I also have this other scrap here that is from the same collection, the Creative Memories collection from a few years back, as well as this sticker sheet. I thought that it was printed on the back what it was, but it is not. I have a plain piece of white cardstock from Close to My Heart. I have a leftover piece from my Kit Conspiracy. This is the Farmhouse Garden collection. I am running out of supplies, you guys. I don't know how many more layouts I'm going to be able to make. And then I have 4 photos for a single layout. That's what's going to make this super quick because of how many layouts. All right, for this shimmers, I've got Creamy's Thunderstorm, Inkling's I Love You Onyxly, Creamy's Crow's Feet, Inkling's Tarnished Treasure, and then Inkling's Minor 49er, and then the Spritz in Granny Gray. So I cannot wait to use this collection of grays, and I also threw in a little bit of golds just for some contrast. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off my, I trimmed down my photos so that way you guys didn't have to watch me. Very boring. And then I'm going to trace out my little cloud. Now this is just a rough trace. I'm not trying for perfection here. I just need to know where to put my paints. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I usually leave this out of where I prep the inks, but somebody has asked to do this because they think that they did it wrong. And so I thought that I would include that in this layout as well. So what I do is I take the lids off all of them and give it a few little squirts from my squirt bottle. Now my squirt bottle does have distilled water in it. So that way the paints don't get moldy. But the thing about this is you have to let it sit for just a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot, but I spray it just to give it a little bit of moisture. And then I bring my brush in from dipping it in water. So my brush is saturated in more water in order to get my my inks to activate. And so then I just paint with them. So the first thing I did is I wanted to get my cloud on my paper wet for adding the inks and whatnot. I went a little bit too wet on one spot, but that's okay. You can't even tell, can't even notice. So I'm going in with Thunderstorm first. That is the lightest gray that I have. And I'm painting the entire inside of my cloud in Thunderstorm, and then I'm going to do a little bit of splattering because the cloud isn't perfect when it comes out of the steam pipe, the smokestack. It actually comes out and then kind of branches off here and there and breaks away. So then I'm going to dip into I Love You Onyxly and go ahead and create shadows and whatnot and little areas. It looks like a hot mess. Seriously, it's going to be because of the fact that it's gonna dry, and then when I go and add my cloud back into it, which I painted my cloud in Crow's Feet, wow, that is a beautiful black, you guys. It's like a charcoal beautiful black. Oh my gosh, perfect for this project, to be honest. But anyways, when I add my cloud back into it and everything dries, it's going to give that background a little bit of dimension. And that's the only thing I'm looking for. All right, next I'm going to take my Tarnished Treasure as well as the Thunderstorm and just go over my little alphas that I had, my tile alphas, because they were stark white and I did not want them stark white. I wanted to give them a little bit of dullness. That's a good word for it. So yeah, I definitely wanted to, to tone them down a little bit. And so I just went over them with my shimmers. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the layout together. And I thought I really liked the checkered on this because it reminded me of the train tracks. And I thought that it would be a good idea to add the train tracks at the top, but then I realized that it matchy-matchies way too much. So I'm going to go with it. It happened. It is what it is. It was my thought process, but yeah, that's what it is. So these are pictures of locomotive number 93. And I wanted to talk about 93 for a hot minute, even though I've only got like 6 seconds left to talk. But 93 was built in Ely, Nevada. And she only left home for just a brief span of her life. And then Ely, the townspeople, brought her back. But she didn't go very far, to be honest. So she was purchased for the railroad back in 1909. And I am amazed. She was purchased for only $17,000. You can't even buy a car for that cheap anymore. So that is just absolutely crazy. She used to haul 30 to 40 ore cars at a time from Ruth to McGill. And that's the 2 towns in Nevada. And so that's all she did. She just went back and forth from Ruth to McGill for the majority of her life. She's just beautiful. I'm so sorry. So once diesels replaced the steam engines, she went into freight service. So basically she was on a short haul, and she hauled freight back and forth from a small little town. I think it was in McGill. I think she stayed in McGill and did freight back and forth there. So she retired to the White Pine Public Museum in 1961 and returned to the railroad. So she went back into service in 1990, and she was restored and placed in what's called excursion service in 1993. The excursion service means that she is basically just a luxury engine for right now. So she's considered our lucky locomotive. Through her career, she survived at least 2 major wrecks, escaped the scrapper's torch at least twice, and had major axle issues that required an entire full rebuild, which most people would just say, forget it, we're not going to do it, and decommission the entire engine. So we are very lucky that this one here chose to get saved. Very, very lucky. So her brightest moment in her career was in 2002 when she was taken along with the excursions coach to pull passenger trains at to the Olympic torch for the Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City. Just in case you guys did not know that. I love working on this train, to be honest. These are pictures. The 2 pictures on the left are actually pictures of the piston getting replaced over on her, well, it was on her left side, so I didn't really take a picture. It's embarrassing when their guts are all spilled out, so I couldn't take a picture of that. She would not have appreciated it. But yes, it's just fascinating. And then the other picture over on the right is inside of actually car number 81, and just taking a picture of 93 on its first run. It's exercising that piston and making sure that there's no catastrophic issues or anything like that. So anyways, just thought that I would share that with you guys. My title that I'm putting on right now does say Magnificent 93, is going to be my entire title. Like I said, I really just wanted to have this documented, but not really. I just wanted it in my scrapbooks. In all honesty, I probably could have just slapped the pictures on a piece of paper and called it good, so I could continue to read the article about her over and over and over again. But, let's spruce it up, add a few flair, all that good jazz. I want to talk about the little tickets that I added as well. It's a little book from Tim Holtz. This was one of my Christmas gifts from my good best friend, Janet Fritz. She is Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube. She gifted that to me for Christmas this year, and I could not wait to tear into it. And it was perfect because those 3 tickets all mentioned railroads. And so I tucked them in a way to where you could see the railroad, see a little bit of the red number. I liked that contrast. And I liked bringing in that brown because here in a minute, I'm going to splatter minor 49er all over the place. But if you guys see, my magnificent title blends into the smokestack, the cloud that I created, a lot better now that I have painted it with that thunderstorm Shimmerz paint. And so it definitely did help blend it in instead of it sticking out because of its stark whiteness. So I really liked that. And I liked the fact that the letters were so dark that it took the ink really well, or the paint really well, and was still legible. So it's not like I covered it up and now it's really hard to read. And of course, because of the warpiness of my layout, I do have to glue the 93 down. And then I'm going to cover up my photos so I can do a little bit of splattering. So here's where I'm dipping my brush in, making sure that it's clean, but I've got my water going on, and I'm just going to soak my brush into this paint pot and then just do a bunch of large splatters. Wipe off anything that I got somewhere that I didn't want. That's the beauty of Shimmerz paints, is that especially this minor 49er is it has a clear base, so it's only going to show the sparkle. And so I can wipe it up really quick on those that I didn't want it on, and it's just going to leave a little bit of sparkle behind instead of a smudge. So I really like that too. So I want to thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me today. I really truly appreciate it. Thanks for hearing my story about this beautiful, beautiful machine. I absolutely love her to death. Also too, if you guys are interested in purchasing any of these really cool paints to play with, don't forget to mention my name in the comment section. I would really truly appreciate it. Plus you guys get a really cool freebie when you do. I love freebies. I don't know about that. I'm all for it. So again, thank you very much for joining me today, and I will check y'all later for another really cool Shimmerz project. Bye.